It's a beautiful day. Hey, that's fire right there. So don't burn yourself coming into the show, slide up against the wall. I said this before. And I will keep saying it. What's good? Welcome to the Madjef Music Show. I'm your host. That's what they call me. In case you were wondering, yeah, it's Fedora Saturday up in here. Guess what? One of my good friends is here today. A guy goes by the name of L.A. Mr. Lance Alexander. He's going to be on the show, man. This cat, we go way back, man. Lance and I go back to the Flytetyme days, and I can't wait to get my man on the show and chop it up with him. So he's waiting for him to call in right now. In the meantime, let's jump into some little news bit or something, because I got a little bit right here I want to share with you because, man, I tell you what, check it out. Check out my news feature. Let's go with that. Ooh, groovy. And what's in the news today? I'm going to tell you what's in the news. This guy is in the news today. DJ Quick. DJ Quick is a video out right now on YouTube where he is literally burning a check, my brothers and sisters. He received a check that he's burning it. He's like, no, man. Don't do this to me, people. Don't disrespect me. I'm one of the world's greatest producers. Why y'all disrespecting me? Now, if you're wondering, this is a check from Death Row, and this guy has been on records by 50 Cent, Eminem, Dr. Dre. He's done so much stuff on the West Coast. He's the heaviest hitter out there, man. He really is. And the check, in case you're wondering, the check was worth a whopping $109. I'll be mad too. I wouldn't have burned it, but I'll be mad too. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. So that's what's going on in the news. Another really cool news bit, man, that I stumbled on recently was, and I don't know what's going on in the world, and I ain't gonna argue with nobody, but the Miami Dolphins had they had the Isley brothers announcing their draft picks. I was like, yeah, this is good. All we needed was Ernie to put on a guitar at that moment, and it would have been something for the ages. But here's my suggestion. I think from now on, we should let all drafts be called by the Isley brothers. If you're into that idea, go ahead and raise your hand. The Isley brothers announcing draft picks from now on. I'm with this. So enough about that. Enough about the news. You know, I like to chop it up a little bit before my guest gets here, but you know, I'm gonna have to get real serious because when my guests show up, you know, I got to get serious. So I'm gonna play things that, you know, will bring back the memories of who he is. In case you're wondering who this cat is. In case you're wondering, let me show you. It's this dude. Oh. Yo, my guest is Lance Alexander, and he is in my green room right now. So we're about to bring him in right now. We're gonna see how this goes real quick. Because I haven't even talked to the brother, but I can't wait to get him in the show. So let's go ahead and bring Lance in real quick. Hold on, Lance, stand by. Yeah. L.A. What? L.A.'s in the house. Talk to me, Lance.
I'm talking to you, bro. I'm
What's going
talking
on?
to you. What's happening, man?
I hear
How
you
you
play more.
been?
Keep talking. We get you.
I said, how you doing? How you
Man,
been?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I can't complain at all.
It's been too long, bruh.
I know, right? Like,
It's been
I think
too-
last time I saw you, can I say it?
Yeah, by all means.
I think last time I saw you, you was sitting inside a strip club in Minneapolis chatting.
Oh, Lance. Can I say it? He says.
Can I say it?
You said it. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Lance.
Yeah, we hung out for about an hour, man. Just having a couple of drinks and chatting.
Man, Lance, I love you. Somebody trying to join our chat. I don't know who it is. You know somebody named Miss Queequee?
Yeah, she's my assistant.
Oh, okay, get you. She trying to dial in. But guess what, man? I'm so happy you
What's
here,
up,
bro. I'm
man?
so glad you took some time out to be on the show, man. Because I really wanted to get people out here and tell them about you, man, and bring you out from behind the curtain.
Hey, yeah, I appreciate that, and I love you too, man. Like, dog, the history, man. You
Oh
know,
no,
we was there in the beginning of the new phase of flight time, and then now the building don't even stand no more.
mind blowing, ain't it?
It really is, man.
Lance,
Sad.
I know for a fact that when you guys came up you came up a couple years before me in like '89 or something like that,
Yep,
and
89.
once they seen you guys working and knew that you could play like y'all could play and write like y'all could play, Jan Lewis wanted you on the squad, and they made you guys the B team. A lot of people don't know this, but you and Prof were the B team at Flight
Yeah,
Time.
yeah, that's real, man. I mean, I remember the first time I heard that they referred to us as a B team. It blew my mind. I think I had to go in the bathroom and stare myself in the mirror for a minute, like, am I seriously hearing this? Crazy,
So
real crazy.
you guys came up here, Lance. You came up here specifically to do what? Now did you come to join one of the Prince bands potentially? Is that what you guys came up from Kansas City? When I say you guys, I mean Prof, and it was like T
Right, the whole
Bone and
group.
Dre.
Right. Well, actually, I came up there. I hooked up with a girl named Sue Ann Carwell, who, she's like Minneapolis royalty up there as far as the Minneapolis sound and music scene and all that. But she and I worked together on some stuff here in Kansas City. And then in September '89, I moved to Minneapolis. But I came to Minneapolis specifically to become a songwriter and record producer. And I had my focus on Jimmy Jam and Jerry Lewis.
Right.
I was trying to get up in Flight Time. But I was also trying to get with Prince as well. It was like, whoever gonna bite, I'm going after both of them.
I feel you. And you know what? A lot of us were in that same boat because that's exactly the position I was in when I arrived up there. And I remember seeing somewhere, or when I first got there, and you guys had the jackets, bro. When I first arrived at Flight Time,
Oh, the Flight Time jackets?
y'all had the
Did you hear the
jackets.
story about that?
Talk to me. What's the story?
Well, when I first moved to Minneapolis in '86, one of the first things I did, well, I take that back, '85, before I moved there, I went to the Black Music Awards, Minnesota Black Music Awards for the first time. And I saw Terry Lewis out in the lobby and was trying to holler at him. And he wasn't really trying to holler at me because he was talking to Clarence Avon. And I was just like, okay, well, maybe next time. So then I moved up there, and it was like I was staying with some people in their basement over in St. Paul, and I went to this nightclub called Sugar Daddies in East St. Paul, and I saw a flyer on the window of some cards that said, "Coming soon, the Grand Jury Band," and I was like, "You got to be kidding me! These cats from Kansas City that I used to play with are up here."
Wow.
So I didn't know that they were there, but once we saw each other, they asked me if I would come back to the band, and when the guy said, "If you come back to the band, man, I'll pay for the truck to go get all your equipment in Kansas City and bring it back." So
Nice.
I was in, But then the band didn't last no more than maybe a year. And then I just got me an apartment, 3 bedroom, put me a studio on one. And when the band broke up, everybody moved back to Kansas City, including Prof. So he called me and was like, "Yo, man, it's crazy down here in Kansas City, the violence and this and that. I don't want to be here. It'd be cool if I move back to Minneapolis to stay with you?" I said, "Yeah, you need to get back up here anyway," because he and I had already been in the studio a couple of times before they left, and I knew that there was a chemistry there. So I was just like, I think this guy is the Cherry Lewis to my Jimmy Jam,
Right.
or the Babyface to my LA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
Definitely.
Kenny Gamble to my Leon Huff. I was just like, cool. So he moved in and we just started working on music. And this is like, in '88.
Mm-hmm.
And then '89, we moved back to Kansas City, but we were still doing the demo tapes. So when I went back to Minneapolis in September, I went to the Black Music Awards again. There was it was not a producers panel, but it was a music industry panel. And Jimmy Jam was on the panel. So I raised my hand to ask a question, and I told Jimmy Jam that I wanted a Flight Time jacket with my name on it, and that I wanted a job. And he said, "Okay, meet me over here. I'm gonna give you my business card. Send me a demo tape." We sent him a demo tape, and at the end of, I think it was the last 2 days of October, that they flew us to Minneapolis and gave us contracts for 7 years. It was crazy, man.
Nice.
You
Now look,
talking about
man,
some?
I know all about that jacket, bro.
That's right. I should have put mine on. That's
I
what I
just
should have
had to
did.
bring it out because Lance, I ain't gonna lie. When the first time I saw somebody wearing this jacket walk past me, I almost reverted to everything I learned in my criminal undertakings as a youngster in New York. I wanted that jacket so bad. I said, man, that is
Yeah,
the flyest, dopest thing I have ever seen.
for real, for real. And you knew what it meant.
Yeah, it meant
You
everything.
know, I mean, whenever you saw that logo, that meant nothing but Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis,
Right.
and you like, yo, these cats is just, I mean, hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. It was nonstop, man.
And fortunately for us, when you're rocking that jacket in Minneapolis, you essentially had the keys to the city. I mean, you just everywhere you went, people just let you in.
Open the door, let you in. I know, right?
That was
I
pretty
wore it
nice.
even when it didn't match my outfit. I was like, I
You
don't want to
know.
wear this today, but
Hey man, so
yeah,
around '89, around that time '90, you guys got back together. Is this when this attention, the Shawanda story dropped that y'all did, man? Is this when that dropped out?
yes, sir.
Y'all dropped that joint.
Yep.
Y'all was independent at this time, pretty much, yeah.
No.
No,
Jimmy
okay,
Jam, yeah, Jimmy and Terry, they were still executive producers of that.
okay. Oh, good. I didn't realize that.
As a matter of fact, Jimmy Jam and his wife, I think they were still engaged at the time. They were on the set of the video for the Shawanda story.
Okay.
We shot out in San Francisco.
Wow, wow. So you, man, you know what? You know, how do I know Lance? I guess is a good question. The way that I know Lance is that I was an engineer, and Lance was a late night, really late night. When I say late night, I mean damn, the strip clubs is closed by now. Here come Lance. Here come Lance. The strip. What time the strip club closed? Okay.
Right,
Here
right.
comes Lance for the session.
10, 9, 8, 7. Here he come through the war. Through the door. I mean, hey,
2:30
look here,
a.m. Here
bro.
he come. But you know what? We got shit done.
Look
Hey,
here.
there it is.
Look here.
That's what's up. That's the jacket, baby. That jacket
Look
meant
here.
everything, man. I'm glad you still got
Oh
yours
my
too,
God.
man. That
Yeah.
you know what, Lance? We talked about this offline some years back, and that is we took flight time very seriously, and I think to the point where sometimes people misunderstood us a little bit and how we reacted to certain things. But to still have
You
your
and I.
jacket is a key point to that. Speaks to that.
You and I were the most serious guys walking through there, with the exception of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I mean, everything was passionate and took it to heart. You know what I mean? I mean, we were really, really serious about that thing.
Yeah.
So you're right. It was a lot of misunderstandings going on with that.
Yeah, it was. You know, you got to think about it, bro. We was literally, man. You know, I didn't envy. You know what I didn't envy about your position, you and Lance, is that you were the B team. But then suddenly, when perspective came, there was so much to do that now you had producers coming from everywhere just to
Yeah.
fulfill the requirements that we had of all the work. So
Right.
man, now you like in a, you're trying to do your thing with Lokey. You want to get on this action. I know you do want to get on all these records, but you don't got
But
time.
you can't.
Yeah,
But you can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when we were working on the Mo Money soundtrack. I did me and Prof. We did a song "Job and Number" work for Big Daddy Kane. We did "Let's Just Run Away" for Johnny Gill. We did "Joy" for the Sounds of Blackness. And when they were mixing the record, it was time for Lokey to go out on tour with the Sounds of Blackness for a black college tour. And we were the opening act. And I remember saying to Jimmy, I said, yo, man, can I stay here and complete the mix to Let's Just Run Away and then take a flight out and meet them? He said, nope, go get on that bus. So I was just like, oh man, like when that song came out, I was just like, oh, okay, it was okay. I had a different idea for the type of mix that I wanted, but I was really satisfied with what they did, man. It was, I mean, I was like, how can I lose if Jimmy Jam, Steve Hodge, I believe you at the time. Weren't you there at the time?
On which one?
More Money.
Yeah. That's when I came in on More Money.
Yeah, so I knew I was in good hands. I just went ahead and got on the bus and looked forward to going on the tour. And when the album came out, I was just really just really proud, man, to be a part of that whole thing.
It was all happening so fast. I remember, man. I know you guys was trying to get your group going. You were trying to produce. So much was happening in those times, man. In terms of just the insanity of it all. You know what I mean? It was so deep.
Right.
But the other thing is that you guys worked with this dude, man, which I think you know it stands to say this guy right here, you know, was significant in your career. The work you did with him.
Man, let me tell you something about this right here, man. This right here, I'm about to say something that anybody watching should really, really listen to me carefully. That you can really speak things into existence if you working hard and you praying about it and you keep saying it, it can actually come true. Because I believe I was 19 or 20 years old, and I had a girlfriend that lived in Oklahoma, and she and I would, make road trips back and forth or whatever. One time we was heading down in Tulsa, and we listened to the new Alexander O'Neal album, and I had recorded a demo with this guy named Joy Elias, and she was listening to it, and she said, that one song right there sounds like something Alexander O'Neal could do. And I said, you know what? I'm going to work with Alexander O'Neal one day. So when Jimmy and Terry sent us in the studio, the first thing we did when we got to Flytetyme, they stuck us in Studio C with Alexander O'Neal. And when I looked through the window into the vocal booth for the first time and saw him standing in there, man, I I was just, man, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't, man.
And the work you guys did on that record was outstanding, man. But you guys had bigger visions, man. And your goal was to eventually get out and start doing your own thing like this, right? I mean, you wanted to be you. We got ahead. I just got ahead of myself right there. I didn't want to go that far. I really want to go here because this is where
because I was about to start two-stepping.
Started getting into this.
Right.
And because this group out of Kansas City with Prof and Dre and Darren and T-Bone,
yeah.
Come on, man. You guys was really hitting it hard, bro, with this record.
Wow.
I mean, plain and simple, Lance.
Hey, I remember Terry Lewis saying when he heard that song,
Plain and simple.
he said, this is the smash. Unbelievable.
It didn't want to stop. We're going to stop it. Lance.
That's
pretty amazing.
Did you hear what I just said about what Terry Lewis said?
No, say that again, Lance. What'd you say?
Once we were done with that song, Terry Lewis came in, walked in the studio, and he said, this song right here is a hit. This is a smash. And I was just like, I hope he's right. Who better to predict if something's going to be a hit or not, if other than Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis? I had no idea it was going to go. I had no idea it was going to go all the way to #1 on the R&B charts, man. It was.
That's crazy. Terry walking and do all these, Lance, he go.
Yep. Exactly.
And to take that word because he was right. I mean, I've seen people not want to sing something that Terry wrote, and Terry would be like, well, when we get done, you'll see, or whatever. They would sing it, and then it'd be a hit record.
Yeah, I never will forget Sherelle saying, I used to hate Saturday Love. I hated that song. Mm-hmm. And it's her biggest dang record, man. It's just, I take it back. She got a lot of big records.
She got some big songs.
But that Saturday Love is just like, it will not die.
That's a memorable record there. What about your second record, man? What about this guy, Back to the House, man? I mean, you guys hit the road on this one. Didn't you tour on this record?
Yeah, we did. But it was really more like a promotional tour.
Okay.
The Back to the House album was my attempt to make authentic, old school R&B. So I went on a mission when we were on tour. Every city we went to, I would go looking around for instrument stores or pawn shops or whatever. Mm-hmm. I found a Wurlitzer piano down in Atlanta, paid for it, shipped it to Flytetyme. I found a real electric rose from this woman. I got it from Burnsville. I was buying Moog Source, Moog, Mini Moog, ARP Odyssey string, anything that was going to give us an authentic. The instruments they used back in the 70s is what I used on that album.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember everything. We had everything we had in the arsenal there, plus anything you brought in. And I remember it being a real organic record in terms of you guys really just trying to go back to like the Ohio Player vibe and Cameo and Function. I remember you guys were influenced by that kind of stuff during that time.
Yeah, for real, man. I mean, you calling it organic, man. That means a lot to me to hear you say that, because once again, I respect your opinion musically, and I really set out to, you know, do something that was gonna be authentic, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, I got a question for you, man. I want to pop it up. One of our guests has a question for you, Lance. This question is,
Yes, sir.
Lance, what was your business takeaway from Jimmy and Terry?
My business takeaway. Um, it was really how to make records, um, and how to make it from, you know, how to walk into a room that's empty, that's quiet, and to walk in there with a couple of instruments under your arms and set them up, and then to start using them instruments to lay down the foundation, and then have somebody come in and sing their parts and give them the melody and hit it like this, hit it like that, you know, and then taking it to mix, and then after taking it to mix, taking it to mastering, as well as being involved with, like with Lokey, I was always trying to want to be involved with, you know, the artwork, or, you know, what the cover was going to look like. That was always pretty serious up to all of us guys. You know, we wanted to make sure there was a certain type of a vibe that we was going to have on the front of the cover, you know. So yeah, it was that, but it also was, you know, I will admit that deep down, and Jeff, you know this, deep down inside, that Barry Gordy in me was there. Like, I really wanted to have my own company and be the CEO of the company and run my own record company, something I really wanted to do. So I paid attention to a lot of the moves that they made in that area as well, you know.
And you eventually did that by forming your Baby Honey label, which is still to me one of the dopest record labels, the entire graphics I've ever seen, bro. I think I told you that years ago.
Oh man, thank you so much, man. There was a guy, man. He was a Caucasian male. I don't know, maybe about, I want to say 70, but he had this real long beard. And my man Jeff Taube, he said, "Yo, man, you want somebody to draw your logo? I got this guy. You know, just telling me what your ideal is, your concept." So I gave him the concept, and about 2 weeks later, Jeff said he left the first draft of the logo down here. And when I went down there and started approaching the desk and I saw that baby, the closer I get, I said, "That's him. That's him right there." Yeah.
That's cool. I love that thing. Lance, let's take a minute. We're gonna get into some more serious conversation, but I want to take a real quick minute because I want to play a game with you, man. I play a little game with my guests when they come on the show. I want to show you some images, bro. I just want to get some feedback from you about what's the first thing that comes to mind when you see these images. It's nothing too serious or too heavy. It's just.
I'm gonna brace myself. All right, let's go.
But I got some images for you. All right, here's an image for you right here. I already know what's gonna happen now when I show you this image, but I'm gonna show it to you anyway. What happened? What comes to mind, Lance?
Man, Super Bowl champions. What? And he's the GOAT. And the what is he the $500 million man?
Definitely.
Man, Patrick Mahomes.
Definitely. I mean, he's a bad man, Lance. I ain't playing. This dude right here he's phenomenal.
He's a beast, ain't he?
He's a monster.
Let me tell you something, man. The way the Chiefs have been playing last season and then the previous season, where they just won, with the one that they won and the one that they almost won.
Yeah. They should have won.
The way that they just kind of started getting bigger and harder and bigger and harder. Right. It actually motivated me, you know, to push harder in what I was doing with business and the music and all that stuff too. I'm telling you, man, they inspired me, man. They really did.
You guys are Kansas City. I mean, Lokey, I knew about Kansas City after I met Lokey because I was like, who's these bad dudes, man, playing and dancing and singing like this from Kansas City? Man, y'all Kansas City to me all day. But this game ain't over, Lance. I got more.
Okay, come on.
I got more for you. Let's see. Now, I already know what comes to mind, but the folks don't know, so I want folks to know. What comes to mind, Lance, when you see something like this? What does a picture like this remind you of? What do you think of?
It reminds me. Oh, okay, that's a remix over there. It reminds me of the 70s, man. It reminds me when I was like 10, when my mother first walked in and handed me the first Parliament Funkadelic album, Mothership Connection. But it also reminded me of us, though.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. It's It's something about that era right there, man. That we, I
It
wish
is,
me
man.
and you had been in together in the same group, bro. Just like wear your hair any way you
Okay.
want with bell bottoms, and your belt is like a
Yeah,
little piece of lace. You just got on a knit tank top.
man. Or yeah, knit. Yeah, crochet. A crochet vest.
We
A
crazy.
crochet hat. Hold on, hold
Woo,
on. A
woo.
crochet hat
Hey,
with
and
Coors
nothing
beer
was
cans
off.
around it.
Nothing was. I saw some pictures earlier today of Rick James with the Stone City Band on Sunset Boulevard in the late '80s, and it was a freak show. Them walking down the sidewalk, and all of them were like 6'4", so it was pretty scary. One more picture. Here we go. Oh yeah, baby. What comes to mind when you see this picture here? I mean,
My sons.
your sons. Why is that?
Yep.
Why is that? What don't people know about Lance L.A. Alexander that they should know right now? They need to know this.
Well, they should know that I was attending Juneteenth in North Minneapolis, and it was people everywhere, and they had a stage set up, and I was behind the stage, and I heard some people on stage singing, and I said, "Who in the hell is that?" So I went around to the front to see who was singing, and it was these four young guys on the stage giving you R. Kelly, giving you Jodeci, just that whole vibe, the tone, the range. And I hurried up and just ran over to him and said, "Yo, man, I want to take you guys in the studio." And eventually got him in the studio, and eventually presented him to Terry Lewis to see if he wanted to sign him. And I understood his reason for passing because at the time he said, "Yo, Lance, we already got too many male groups. We got Make Edition, we got Lokey, we got Solo." He said, "I don't know if I really want to do another, male R&B group." I said, "Okay." He said, "But I tell you what, I will give you permission to record a demo tape on these guys here in Flytetyme, and then you can take that demo and shop a record deal for them somewhere else." So I took him up on that, and
I remember those
I'm gonna
late
throw.
nights.
I was gonna say I'm gonna throw a question at you because you remember.
I remember them. Once
You
the
remember?
strip club closed, yeah,
Yeah,
there would be
yeah.
some late night stuff going on, whether authorized or unauthorized. I don't know. Most of the time, we were just sitting there doing whatever.
That's why I said what I said. Like, you remember when I was sneaking them in? When Terry Lewis said, "Okay, I got enough songs, that's
Yeah,
enough."
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh," and then somebody would say, "Jimmy and Terry's in New York." I'm like, "What? They in New York? RL, yo, I'm coming to get you."
Ooh,
And
there was
then
no such thing as a night off in those days.
man,
See, that
I'm
was the
telling you,
difficult
so
thing for me. When
RL,
Jimmy Terry went away from me, I would be like, "Oh." And then as soon as they got on the plane, one of 19 groups would call me and be like, "Hey, Jeff, we're going to be at the studio tonight."
see, including the Sounds of Black and Son.
You name
Well,
Gary.
of
You know
course, I know
Gary's
Make
relentless.
Edition.
You know Gary's
Yeah,
relentless.
ooh.
Talk to me about that,
Gary
brother, because
just
I
left
saw a
down
picture
here.
recently of you guys working together. You working with the
Yeah,
Sons of Blackness again?
yeah, by association. But as far as production is concerned, I talked to Gary about that. I told him actually I had a couple of songs I thought would be really good songs for them.
Nice.
So we're gonna get together on that. But yeah, I assisted him with some of the vocal production for the song that they got coming out called "Reparations."
That's what's up, and I'm glad that you're working again. I know you had some health scares, man, in the past and stuff, and I know I talked to you about it when you were in a real bad state, and I was just glad to see that you are where you are right now. But brother, you're looking good to me.
Well, brother, let me tell you,
Like, don't
God
fight.
is good, man.
No question. No question.
Yeah, I mean, like, I went from being close to death a few times to having to learn how to walk again twice. But the thing that I love about what God did was he said, "Hey, you know what? Your legs might not work, but your hands and your arms and your mind, you still got. So ain't no excuse. Get your butt back to work."
Get to work. Get to
Yeah.
work. You haven't. You just been trying to. I've seen you formulating a plan for how you want to do things, and I've been watching you through social media and stuff like that. So, in my mind, you still been working. Speaking
Yeah.
of people passing and stuff, man. One of the guys that was instrumental in your records and stuff was Big Jim, bro. He was a friend of the
Big
Flytetyme family. God, like a brother to you and Prof. I mean,
That was my brother right there.
man, one of the
Let me
most
tell you something.
talented cats,
We be at the studio working, man, and Big Jim would be like, hey man, did you make some chili? And I'd be like, yep. I'm coming to your house. And you come to my house and sleep on the floor. And we would sit up until 9 o'clock in the morning, man, just listening to vinyl, man, playing records. And yeah, man, he was our music director on tour.
In the studio,
and
just a beast with you guys. I mean,
oh
he
my
really
God,
was,
yeah.
he kind of clicked with you in terms of that love for like vintage instruments and sounds. And he was from
Mm-hmm.
that old school background. Man, he was an old soul really in a young man's body.
Yeah. And he and the talent that he had was on a level that you can't even describe it. You know what I mean? The man was just a beast. You know.
He did, and I was fortunate because when I arrived there, it was right around the time Big Jim got there, and they just threw us in the studio and said work, and just keep Jerry. My directive was to just keep it moving. You know, just keep it moving, recording, moving, and them songs went to the next level every time they were listened to by Jimmy or Terry because that's how good he was. He could put down an organ sound and a Rhodes sound and a Moog bass with a lead line and move on to the next song.
Right. I remember he said to me on the Back to the House album, the song "Get Your Girlfriend." Mm-hmm. He said, "You played Defender Rhodes on that like you was mad at me," and I said, "Really?" He said, "So just let me jump on the organ, man." And he jumped on the organ and put some organ on there that was just sick, you know. That dude, he was, man. That's my dude, man.
You know what's funny is you just said, "Really." I've heard that. That's like a tattoo on the back of my neck. When you said that, my hair stood up on you. Like, really?
Yeah. You say that. Yeah.
You my dog.
Yeah, you know
man.
what it is, man.
Man,
you my dog too, man.
What else is going on? What's the future? What's the future hold? So talk to me about this because I'm hearing talk. I'm hearing you talking to these ladies and you telling them all the things that a man should tell a lady. You deserve to get pampered, your back rubbed, all of this.
Yep, and more importantly, I give you love. Yeah.
Talk to me, Lance.
Yeah, man.
This is what? This is You Deserve is the single, and man, this is Lance as with the Lance Alexander Project with Champagne Mundane on vocals.
And V. Well, actually, when it's V, the lead vocal of the male guy is V. Yeah, and the girl part is Champagne Mundane. This is the first release from Baby Honey Records, man, since 2002.
Wow.
In 2002, when I formed the label down in Atlanta, we released an album on a group called VIP. It was from Minneapolis, and you know, it made a nice little bit of noise, you know. But I actually shut the label down around 2004. As a matter of fact, I shut down in 2004. I didn't want to even do any music or produce music anymore. And
that surprises me to hear that, but because you got so much talent, that's why it surprises me. If I could write songs the way you write songs, I probably that would be a tough place to be ever. But
well, you know what it was. All right, I'm gonna tell you since this is me and you. Okay, so I was recording on ADATs. I was scared to death of Pro Tools because I couldn't understand it. And do you remember when the Alesis came out with the M20 ADATs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the gray ones.
They were supposed to be the ones that were supposed to be like real analog tape.
Yeah, gray analog.
I bought 4 of them for $4,000 a piece, bro. And they were still messing up like the regular dang ADATs. Ooh. So when I moved my studio one more time, only 2 machines worked. That's 16 tracks. I said, if I'm working with 16 tracks, I'm doing demos. I'm not doing demos no more. I make records. So if all I got is 16 tracks, I'm good. I picked up my camera and started doing photography, bro.
I remember
2013.
I remember that.
Yeah, 2013 was when I got back into the game.
I mean, I've been there. We was in the trenches. So we all needed a break after the 90s, to be honest, because we was R&B music in the 90s. And I ain't afraid to say that, bro. But, you know, it's 20.
Isn't it?
I'm sorry, Lance. Go ahead.
I was going to say, isn't it amazing how that era was for R&B?
Crazy.
All the groups that came out, all I mean, you got R. Kelly with Ron Isley, and you got Jodeci, and Silk, SWV, SWV, Jade. I'm talking about the group Jade. Remember Jade? Yeah. Man, it was just so much stuff coming out back then.
From Vegas, 3LW.
Exactly. Then
You had
Right.
100,000 groups, bro, all vying for the same attention. It was pretty amazing. But all working
Yeah.
though, all working though, Lance. Think about it. They were all doing records. They were all touring. We were, you could see
That's
them.
right.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. And they're all
Yeah.
getting paid. They're all getting paid. I don't know if you saw my news
Right.
feed at the beginning of this show, but I ran a little clip on DJ Quick, who was on the news for. He was on a YouTube video.
I heard
burning
about
a
this.
royalty check, and I'm looking at the check, and I'm wondering. I'm dying to know because I already know how this industry works, how much they're paying DJ Quick. And he looks at it, and the check is for $109. Bro, how do you give DJ Quick a check for $109 from Death Row Records? Come on now, they made bazillions.
Wow. Well, you know the industry, bro.
I do. So that's why.
That's the reason why.
Get your plaques or get paid up front.
You know what? Hey,
Credit.
because if you get your plaques can get you more work.
That's right.
Yeah.
I see your plaques back there. I know you know the deal. We have to parlay what we can parlay to continue moving through the day. And that's what we had to do back in them days. Get your name on the record, because if you made it, get your name on it, and and be involved in that process in the future. And I like to think I have a future vision. I don't know if I ever mentioned this, Lance, but I have full videotape of the Flytetyme studio. I went through there when I knew they were going to demolish it before Jimmy Terry moved to LA, and I videotaped the whole building. I have it on file here.
Oh, so you gonna let me look at it? I want to see.
I'll try to pull a little bit of it up right now for you. Let me see if I can grab a little bit of it.
Yeah, do that, man. Do that. Show the people Flytetyme.
Let me see. Got me on the spot. But anyway, in the meantime, why don't you tell me a little bit about what's going on with this? Because I'm seeing that you're using an alter ego these days, in a certain way too. I'm not seeing it here, but I am hearing some buzz about LA the DJ. Talk to me about that.
LA, okay. Well, I started DJing when I was in the 7th grade, and that was the name that my play sister gave me, LA the DJ. And so when I decided I wanted to put out my own album, I didn't think Lance Alexander sounded like an artist. So I said, why don't I just use the name LA the DJ? So there's a couple of songs on this album that is actually LA the DJ. It's 2 of them. That song right there, and another one called Give It To You. But everything else is just like different artists, man. It's kind of like, how about this right here? I've been talking about doing a compilation Quincy Jones album with different people on it for years, and now our boys is doing the same thing. So, it's just one of those things where everybody's like firing on the same wavelength, I guess,
I mean, you got to do something. Yo, dig this.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? And you remember this room?
I sure do.
Studio C,
I sure
baby.
do. Studio C all day long.
They swapped the console out here in the later days, but you see the tape machine over there, and you got that 480L Lexicon reverb up there and so forth.
Oh, okay.
You got the tape machine.
They
made some upgrades to C, but the speakers are the same. We used to rock out in that room, right? That was the programming room there.
Let me tell you something that Jimmy Jam said to me one time. He said, "Hey man, you know what?" I said, "What?" He said, "Your rough mixes sound better than your records." And I was just like, "Really?" And he said, "I think that it has something to do with the monitors that you're hearing in Studio C." So he was like, "I'm gonna see if we can set up where next time you mix, you can go down and listen to what you're mixing in Studio C, and then come back up to A with the adjustments you want to make, and then maybe you can get it the way you really want it, But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. One of the only mixes that I can really, really recall that I actually immediately from the door loved was the mix that you did on the remix of 26 Cent.
Ooh, well, I tried to put my foot in that, but I'm sure that ain't the best
You
mix
did.
you ever heard. That's very kind of you to say, Lance. Ladies and gentlemen, Lance Alexander. Because you worked with Prince Charles Alexander, brother. And look, one thing I learned about assistant Prince when he mixed those records of yours over there at Flytetyme is that he was a bad man. He came in there and put his foot in the speakers, literally. We swapped out NS10s. I think we went through 4 or 5 pairs of NS10s per album.
Let me tell you something.
Oh, bye.
I never. What about the woofers? I never seen an NS10 speaker stick so far out before, ever.
Man. He had some technique. Those Pultec EQs and stuff like that. He brought all that analog in to match your instrumentation being vintage. I mean, he brought that to the table. That's a great sounding record without question, man. It's a great sounding.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, man. We when we were recording at soundtracks in New York, man, that was the first studio we were in together, and we just clicked, man. So us having the same last name, and we just adopted each other as brothers.
And we had, and I didn't get along with Prince at first because I wanted to be the one mixing your record. I'm just gonna go out and say it.
Okay.
I wanted to be
Okay.
mixing records. You know how it is. You young and you just want to be the one. But you know what? I learned so much from him, bro. I learned so much from the dude. It's because God will put you in a situation that you might not understand why you're in the situation. But I learned so much from that guy, bro. And ironically, I bumped into him later in New York, and we were at a club somewhere, and I saw Prince, and I went over and talked to him, and we went in the bathroom, and we talked and stuff like that. We had a nice little chat, shared a drink together, a little talk in the bathroom over a smoke.
Right. Right.
And I explained to him the same thing I'm just telling you right now. Yeah, I wish that was me. But what I learned from him, it lasted me a lifetime. I still use, I use software plugins. First plugins I go to when I'm EQ and trying to add any depth or kick or oomph is a Pultec EQ. I'm reaching for.
Okay, exactly. You know what? That's what I do because of my remembering what he would use. He actually mixed the VIP album with me too.
He did.
Yeah, down there. We mixed that at Stankonia at Outcast Studio.
Down in ATL. Is that where you're living at right now? I mean, well, you just visit ATL, but you were living in ATL for a bunch of years, weren't you, Lance?
I moved there in '98, and I left there in 2013.
Okay. And I remember you was down there, and you was at them strip clubs.
Stop. You know what, man? Hey, dude, it's true. It's true, man.
I know it's true.
The Gentleman's Club was my spot.
You was running through them. Hey, man, somebody's asking me a question. They want me to ask you. Can we get an update on the Lokey crew? What's going on with the fellas these days?
Okay, well, let's see. The last thing that they did that I know about was they did a pandemic concert here in Kansas City at the Gym Theater that they made available to be, for the view, people to see it online or whatever. But I left the group in 2012. So I know that they're doing shows and doing concerts. I've been hearing about them working on some material. I don't know. I don't really talk to them too much. You know what I mean? If I see them somewhere, it's what's happening.
Now, and you guys are all still in Kansas City? The guys are still down there as well?
No. I'm in Kansas City. D is in Kansas City. Bone is in Kansas City. Prof is in some part of Texas.
That's right.
And Dre is in Branson. Yeah, because he's been doing a lot of shows down there at what's it called? Well, I think there's some of the casinos down in Branson.
Nice. Yeah, I kicked it with Prof 2011. I think in Texas. I went to a mint condition show and I bumped into Prof and we kicked it for a little bit, hung out, had dinner at a restaurant afterwards. Some people. It was fun. But Lance, man, have we covered everything? I mean, is there anything else? Did I miss anything?
There's always something else, bro.
I know, man. I could talk to you forever. This is the longest stream I've ever done. This is a 20-minute show. I promised I was going to take 20 minutes of your time. We're still going because we could talk.
Well, let's keep going.
I gotta go, Lance. I gotta get out.
Okay, I was just challenging you. That's all. Well, look here, man. Anytime, bro. Hanging out, spending time with you was, like old times, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Lance Alexander. That's L.A., as they call the man. Lance, thank you so much for being on the show today, man. I really appreciate it, bro. I really appreciate you taking the time, my boss. It was a pleasure you having me, man. Thank you. One love, man. I'm going to be in touch. Yes, sir. We're going to be in touch real soon, all right? Peace. Sounds good. I love you, man. I love you. Be well. Right, love you. Stay too. Healthy. All right, Lance? Yes, sir. One love. All right. Later. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my man. That's Lance Alexander. L.A. is the bomb, bro. Just a very intelligent musician, producer, arranger, label owner. I mean, you name it. The guy has all the skills, man. You can learn something from him. If you're a singer out there and you're looking for a producer who really knows R&B music and the process of creating that vibe of nostalgic music with real instrumentation and produced pristinely, Lance is the kind of guy you want to reach out to when you get a chance to. Guess what I'm going to tell you about right now? I'm going to tell you about my next guest. Guess who it is? Boom. Oh, Lord. It's the Reverend. is Billy Steele from the illustrious Steele family, a producer, music director, singer, songwriter with the Sounds of Blackness, the Grammy-winning Sounds of Blackness, man. It don't get much better than that. I'm stoked about that. I can't wait for Billy to come on the show so we can chop it up. Billy's somebody that I love and somebody that I've spent a lot of time working with in the past, and I'm looking forward to getting with the guy, man, chopping it up on the show. Hey, man, please do me a favor. Follow me on social media. You know, my YouTube channel is really where all the action is, but I'm trying to blow up my Facebook account too, so get on here and support the show. I really appreciate you guys. Next time, which is coming soon, I love y'all, man. Until we meet again, this is Madjef saying, I told you so. Outro video. One love. Madjef, and I'm